Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. We get together because we love sharing information, we love experimenting, we enjoy each other's company, and we sometimes do a little business too. So welcome here to anyone out there who's listening. And welcome to my panel members this morning. So let's begin this morning with some introductions. Tim, how about you? Would you like to introduce yourself first?
Alrighty. I'm Tim Longwell with Longwell Art, where we help you reignite your creativity for your health and happiness. And we help. By doing so, you can learn to turn your dreams, ideas, memories, and photos into works of fine art.
Right on.
And if you can't do it, we'll do it for you.
And you've got something exciting about to happen.
Yes, I'm getting ready to take off this afternoon for a video marketing conference. It's the Video Marketing World. It's their first annual event. This is the kickoff year, and Daryl Eves will be there, Jeremy Vest, Owen Himsaf, that many people will know as Owen Video. Pretty good lineup of speakers, and I'm pumped about meeting them and getting the information that they're going to make available. And so come Saturday, I'll plug for Roland's show now. Come Saturday on Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, we'll go over as what I can remember and what I took notes on.
All right, on. Well, that sounds like fun. Where is it going to be, Tim?
It's in Dallas, Texas. Well, Richardson, technically. But
right.
Since Richardson and Dallas are that close as suburbs. So.
Right. And you're in Oklahoma.
I'm in southeast Oklahoma. I'm about a little over 2 hours away.
Right on. Well, thank you for joining me. I know you kept a couple of things out of your packing so that you could participate, and you'll be leaving shortly after the show. So thank you for taking the time. And Tim has agreed to wrangle some comments for us this morning. So also thank you in advance for that. Appreciate that. Okay, who was next? I think, Roland, you were.
Good morning, Roland from MinMax Media, and endorsing the DIY live streaming show.com website and the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties show. And I just wanted to thank Jay for Friday night. He gave a really nice expose on the plugin and told people in his community. And it was very nice. The show was very good about YouTube Live, and it was a nice tour and a demonstration tutorial. And then also he dropped a line on the plugin, told everybody about it. So thank you very much, Jay.
And here I thought I was letting you know a secret on Friday night. I'm madly texting you. Oh, Jay is giving your VCP, and he's going, yeah, I'm in there watching.
It's appreciated either way. It was very much appreciated.
Well, so that was neat. So welcome here, and thank you for your musical support. It's really, I think it adds to the ambience here. Now then, I think Fred, you were next.
Good morning, it's Fred Jones from ourfutureleaders.ca. I'm located in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And what we do is promote youth group coaching online and face-to-face. We're helping youth with their skills, leadership skills, and help prepare them when they become an adult for this rapidly changing world.
Mm. Yes. And at some point, Fred, I would really like us to spend a bit of time in the Success Circle here, talking about how all that works and so forth, so some of us can become more aware of what you're doing.
Right,
so,
right on, thanks.
Soon I will be in touch, and maybe we could put our heads together. Are you up for that?
Right, yep, that sounds great.
Great.
Appreciate
it. Cool. Alana, I think you were next.
Good afternoon, everyone. Alana here, coming to you from Ireland. It's about 5:10 here in the evening. I have a VA business, and I also run a website, emptynesterblog.com, where I help empty nesters create their own online income.
Right. Anything new for you this week?
Oh, nothing but headaches, unfortunately.
You too, huh?
Well, long story. I've been working on trying to publish something for a week, and my website is giving me some hassle, and I'm calling in the big guns to help me fix it. So hopefully I will get that sorted.
Yeah. You're not alone. My website is giving me a hassle too.
Yeah.
It's
very frustrating. It's very frustrating. I was ready to pull the plug on it altogether. I was ripping my hair out. So.
Yeah, me too.
Not fun.
Is turning upside down, Alana.
Yeah. So on both ends of the world, we're all having hassles.
Right. Now, Jay and Heidi, I think you both sort of popped in almost simultaneously. So let me see.
Beauty before the beast. So you
okay, Heidi, away you go, beauty.
So you are the beast today. And I'm in Italy and finally back here because I had a little bit to do lately. We have done the olive harvest now, and we have 60 liters of pure olive oil. But if I show you my shoulders, as we are doing everything by hand and not with machines. As a host for shows, we are doing the Wisdom Factory mainly, and in the moment we are doing 2 shows this week, 2 shows on conscious aging, about body-mind practices. So instead of taking drugs, and that will be very interesting. And on Friday, because of an interference of dates, so we had to do it 2 days consecutively, we have men and women and power, a discussion between a man and a woman and us two. So we are 2 and 2, and we will see how it works. What is the difference between the men and women in expressing power? So that will be quite interesting, and you are invited to join us for that. And this will be on the wisdomfactory.net live streaming. You will come to the next we have.
So Heidi, before I forget, I need to tell you that Thursdays I cannot attend because I have an ongoing commitment on all day Thursday. So anything that you do on Thursday, I have to do the replay. So much as I love attending your shows, I really do. So happy that you're here. And I did see some pictures of you and Mark doing some olive oil pressing. It looked, and I thought, wow, I wonder what that olive oil tastes like compared to what we buy in the stores here.
Definitely.
Yes, I'm just betting it is. So
let's come and see us and pick a little bit with us. In the middle of October, you're invited.
Sounds like fun.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Help us pick.
Help us pick. As Mark says in the back.
Yes, you're always farmers are always looking for pickers. I know that.
That sounds like a good trade.
Yeah, right. Free room and board for picking.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I go on for years, for 20 or 30 years almost, since I'm here. I have the so-called woofers, willing workers on organic farms, and they come for free board and eating, and they work for you. And this, otherwise I could never have gone ahead here with this all.
And I just know that because back in New Brunswick, in New Denmark, where my husband comes from, they're potato farmers there, and they do the same thing. So, yeah. Right on. So nice to have you here, and I hear Mark in the background, so welcome, Mark, as well.
Thank you.
So Jay, how about you? What's new in your neck of the woods?
Well, I mean, it's sunny outside, and my website's working just fine, and
don't rub it in.
I got to tell you, I spent some time in Florence, and I actually had a chance to hang out at an olive grove, and it's out of this world. Like the taste difference between free run organic olive oil is a world of difference. You know, it's absolutely great. Actually, I have a question for Heidi. She can answer maybe a little bit later, but do you do free run olive oil press and then a press run where you kind of add additional oil to it to kind of get that last little remnants out of the olive oil? And by the way, olive oil pressing is very hard because you cannot pit the olive oils. You have to keep the pits or the stones inside it. That's at least that's what I heard is for the best kind of press.
No. You have very strange information. When you look at the pictures I have posted on Facebook, the olives entirely get how do you say, milled with huge stone mills, you know, really huge wheels, and everything gets smashed into a mousse, and then it gets pressed. In the old way where we go, it gets pressed in with hydraulic presses, and it takes 2 hours to press one press. While there are now modern ones, and they work on warming up the olive oil, which is the olive to press more, which first of all doesn't work because it doesn't come out. People who have pressed at the same time in a different oil, in the modern oil mill, they had less percentage than we have with the traditional press. And
but the seed stays in though when it gets ground up, right?
Smash.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I meant. That's what I was referring to, is that the seed stays in. So
yeah, it's a lot of oil in the seed. They press around, it wouldn't get enough. But just to let you know, 100 kilos of olives, this time we had a good year. We had 15.4% olive oil.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yes, it's 12.
10 or something, right?
But if you do what you say, you cannot do that yourself, because what is left is really hard stuff. So this goes to factories, and in the factories they add chemicals, and with the chemicals they detract the other oil. So much chance that you buy olive oil, there might be something of that in. And then you buy extra virgin olive oil, you know, you think it's extra virgin means only the first press. And if they have heated it up, if they have already put the chemicals in there, So be very, very cautious of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything extra.
I think this is a show in itself. The secrets of olive oil with Heidi, right? The real wisdom factory is here.
Yeah, that is 25 and more years of experience.
There you go. Maybe that's a niche in itself. How to press your own olive oil.
Well, and maybe Heidi at some point might want to let us know. I mean, as consumers, way over on the other side of the world, what should we be buying to avoid anything with chemicals in it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, organic olive oil, and you can trust the brand, you know. The thing is, if you want an olive oil which costs less, let's say, than $10,
oh no,
that thing,
right?
You know,
something that's hand pressed by Italian virgins, right? Yeah.
There are none.
Wait, I got that wrong.
Unbox it. I'm none.
Okay, you guys.
All right. Anyways, my name is Jay. My company is Magi Studios. My foot is now out of my mouth. And I'm great. I'm very happy to be here.
And you're in Victoria. Blank.
Clearly not in Italy.
Clearly not Italy. And actually, I probably should say what I do. My business is Work Style Lifestyle Consulting. I do a combination of coaching and consulting for solopreneurs, helping them become more efficient and manage their systems better and stay on track with their goals. So, and I'm also in Victoria. So welcome everyone. Glad everybody is here. So I thought this morning that it would be really fun to talk about Google Forms. And Tim, in a minute, you've got it all ready. So I thought it would be, before I focus on that, I thought it would be very interesting for us to talk about the various ways that we might want to use Google Forms, because there are a variety of ways that we could use them, and then maybe a little bit about how to put them together and how to share them. But I think the most important part is really about the different ways that we can make use of them. So Tim, can you share that comment that Vivek made before we even started this morning?
Yep, he starts off with hashtag integrate simplify life. Why forms? To integrate. You can integrate email, address collection, along with answers to your questions and forms, all into a neat spreadsheet and reply back to the person who filled out the form with additional information as well. Then there are other tools which allow you to do that for a monthly fee. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, people, if they have a Gmail account, Google Forms are available free. His tag above says it all, Olan.
Yeah, integrate and simplify. Right, absolutely. So, and I mean, that's, I think is a really good place for us to begin, because the more I work with some of these Google tools that we have, the more I realize just how useful they are, and they are free. So, in terms of the different ways that we might use Google Forms, I certainly have discovered that with the tool that Vivek created for me called Chipmunk, where people sign up for attending and or be this webinar, and or whether they want to be in the green room and that all of that. It's the Google Forms is part of that process. So so I would say that it's obvious that using Google Forms is really useful for registration. Having people register for whatever it is that you might be doing. Is there anybody else in the group that is using Google Forms right now? Tim, what about you?
I've used them in the past as well to collect data, like Beck was talking about, where I had information I needed regarding a certain topic or information processing, or to correlate different things from people. I use them regularly that others have made available to do different reporting based on some of the affiliate work I do with different plugins and tools that we use on the internet and everything. So there, and the nice thing about it is they, as Vivek brought out, is all this data can go into a spreadsheet, and then you can pull it up and you can print reports off the spreadsheet to let you know specifically how you're doing what, where, when, and how well you're doing that job. I actually had one that I'm going to start using again that I'll use for the live YouTube and Facebook broadcasts that I'm going to be doing in the future. And I see no reason why I shouldn't just go ahead, and I literally fill out the form myself, and it populates my data table for me. Keep track of what I'm doing, video publishing and different things like that, so that it brings all my data into one place instead of Google Analytics over there and YouTube Analytics over here and Facebook Analytics over there. I can bring it all into one spreadsheet, generate the report, and know how I'm doing A, B, C, and overall.
So, and that's something that probably a lot of people, we need to emphasize. Vivek did say it, but we need to emphasize that when you're using forms and people are entering information into those forms, that information you can get it to populate a spreadsheet. And then it sounds like, here's a piece that I hadn't really thought of, but apparently if you've collected emails, you can even email people from that spreadsheet. Wow. So, I mean, if you had a huge list, that might be sort of counter to our spam laws and so forth here, but it's interesting that it is possible to do. So, yeah. So Jay, I saw you were signaling that you use forms as well?
All the time. Yeah, absolutely. So I use it for client intake information. So when we get a new client, we send them a specific form, which they fill out. And what I really like about Google Forms is that you can make it multi-page. So it's not just one long form. You can have it like, okay, step one, like different sections, and each section can be a new page, right? And you can have a progress bar, all that kind of fancy pants stuff. And really, I think when it comes to, because I mean, the intake form that I have is you know, it's long, but it's to gather as much information as we can so that we can do the best job for our clients. But I think when you separate it into different sections, into different pages, the perception of the form is that it's not as long, right? So you know, the psychological element of you know, intake information. So the other part that I use Google Forms is for applications for hot seats inside Wealthy Affiliates. So every once in a while, every couple of months, I do what's called a hot seat, where I review people's websites and you know, offer some suggestions as what they can do to make changes to improve their site. aesthetically and from the user experience perspective and rankings and whatnot. So this, it's kind of similar to the client intake form. It's more of an application process. And again, it's another multi-page form where I ask a variety of questions. Some of them are multiple choice and whatnot. And what I really like about that, some of the elements of Google Forms from that perspective is there's something called an if-then statement. So if they were to answer a specific question, it would then jump them to a different area. And one of the questions is, are you going to take Jay's suggestions seriously? And if they say no, the application process is over. Say, okay, thanks. It's one of the first or second questions after they enter their name and their WA Wealthy Affiliate username, because I need that to send them messages. But yeah, so if they say no, they don't get to apply.
That's cool.
And you'd be surprised how many people say no, because
Really?
I can see all that. Oh yeah, I could, because all that data gets collected to a spreadsheet, right? As you know, and you know, so you can see the amount of people that say no, and then everything else is blank because it jumps them to the end of the form.
Oh, right.
So that I really like, because then it weeds it for me, because I get like over about 180, 160 applications every time, and I need to go through every single one. So it really does weed it out, you know. So and that's what I really like about that part of Google Forms, is that it's actually a time saver. You know, it really is a time saver. Going back to the intake form, again, it goes to a spreadsheet. I can then copy that data to another spreadsheet that we have for the client, and then we can just utilize that data. So, and if you're using Google, G Suite, you know, you can brand it a little bit better, you know.
Yes.
So.
Oh, well, I've been able to brand mine, but I didn't realize that was because I have a G Suite. You get to
well, I mean, you could put like headings, like I think with any Gmail, you can put headings and whatnot, but with G Suite, you can have your little logo in the corner and stuff like that. So
here's a piece I didn't know about forms, is that you can do separate pages. So
yes.
That's going to have me in there sort of looking to see how that's done. So, so anybody else in the group using forms?
I had used forms for surveys. And what I'm really interested now, what you said, Jay, that first of all, you have the separate pages, because it makes a difference if you have questions or only see 3, because with 1,000 you don't even begin. And the other thing, that you can jump to another place. This I didn't know. Maybe I used them about a year and a half ago. Maybe it's a new feature, I don't know. But it's really interesting. Thank you.
Another, like what with my client intake form, because it's long, I actually have a YouTube video, a private YouTube video in the form part, because you can add YouTube videos inside there. So halfway through, I've got a video saying, you're almost there. You can do it. You know, keep on going, you know, because it gets pretty long, you know. So it's like me handing out the cup of water to the marathon runner, you know, come on, you can do it, and keep going.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, it's not restricted to just adding data. You can have them watch videos and whatnot. So it's very interactive, you know, beyond the just kind of clicking yes, no, adding in that kind of information. That's what I really like.
And I mean, really, one of the ways that I have just used it, and actually I did one recently for a local group here, and Jay was the first one to respond. So Heidi, as you say, surveys are useful. So in order to kind of take the temperature of a group here in Victoria, I decided it made sense to see if I could do a little survey. So I did a fairly simple survey, and discovered a number of positive things in the process. So certainly doing surveys. Another way that I could see doing would be sort of a business evaluation. I think I saw Vivek shared a link with me of a sort of a business survey he had on his website. I have a business survey on my website, but I didn't use Google Forms for it. I used another form plugin, on my website. But I could certainly see that you could do this very easily. So, and I was thinking that another use might be doing evaluations. Let's say if you happen to be delivering a course of some kind, it's a normal thing to have people complete an evaluation form of some sort. So you could certainly use Google Form for that. So I see Tim has brought up a comment. And this is from Vivek as well.
It'd help if I'd unmute, wouldn't it? Yeah, he also added, and I'd forgotten about this too, is that you can put questions there that make sure that it's a human being who's filling out your forms. And because of the way CAPTCHA has evolved, you can even be as simple as clicking a check mark that the robots can't do.
Right on. So, and another methodology might be, and this is kind of related to some things that Jay spoke about already, but a needs determination. Like if somebody were to say they would really like to do something, or they would like your service for something, you could send them a form which allows them to fill in and to give you a sense of the depth and the complexity of their need. So you could do a needs evaluation. And I guess another one might be, if you were an educator, you might be able to use a form as a means of testing people's knowledge, etc. So those are the ones that I could think of. I'm wondering, what about you, Alana? Have you used Google Forms in any way? Do you have
No, I haven't, but I haven't really found a need to use them in my business so far. I certainly see the potential as far as, getting feedback and that sort of thing, but no, I haven't actually used them at all. But I was just taking a look online, the different templates and whatnot. There seems to be quite a bit there to work with that's already pre-existing. So that's a big help as well.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I mean, there are lots of uses, but, they have to be applicable to whatever you're doing.
Do you want to see the hot seat application, how I've structured it with that second page stuff?
Well, I was going to kind of show the host survey that
oh yeah, absolutely, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so I'll just share my screen. That's okay with you. So you can see that in this case, I used just used the colors and all of the things. HOST is a local organization. Which it stands for Home Office Support Team. So it's a local networking group. And what I was trying to do was get some feedback from the various members who are on the meetup site. So you can see that you can do multiple choice. You can do You can ask for short answers. You can, down at the bottom, in this case, I chose not to ask for emails because people on the meetup site are there and they are happy with the fact that nobody else can see their emails. A lot of people see it as a privacy thing. So I didn't ask for emails in this case, but I did ask for a name and any comment that they would like to add. And some people have put their name there and some people didn't. And that's, you know, kind of what it's all about. So, and you can see that there's just a very simple little menu here that allows you to do certain things. The thing that is really useful here, and I haven't moved this to a spreadsheet as yet. I don't know if it's too late, but I can see all the responses, and you get some really good stats. You can, you know, it shows it gives you your information that way, but it can also, you can ask for individuals, and so you can go from one to the other and really look at what you get.
So Laura, it's not too late to turn it into a spreadsheet, and by clicking that little spreadsheet icon there, that automatically populates a spreadsheet, and you do not lose this formatting as well. So it just basically copies all that response data into a spreadsheet.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to show everybody, and let's see if I can do this without, I maybe have to close this. Anybody have any questions about this before I close this piece? It's really, really, really straightforward. I mean, I chose to make this just as simple as possible, partially because I found that a number of people, when I share things in, you know, a document in Google Docs, an awful lot of people who don't have an email, like they get all bent out of shape and can't figure out and so forth. So I was a little nervous about using this, but I've discovered that it's easier than I thought it was going to be. So is that you, Heidi? Are you?
That's me. I remember at the beginning, I had a hard time to get the right URL where to send people. I noticed that I took probably the one for the editing or whatever, and so I lost the responses of people who said they have filled it in, but they never arrived to me.
Oh.
So I'm not sure now where you pick the emails for the people to not the emails, the addresses. So want to share. So just it happened to me twice. So it seems that it was not very intuitive then. I don't know now. I didn't.
You can also embed forms on your page.
Well, that's what I'm showing right now. Is
right.
So here you can send an email, and I'll show you what that looks like. I was kind of skeptical that wouldn't work, but it really does. But here you can get a link, or you can get an embed.
This is definitely different. I see that.
Yeah.
Improved.
So I haven't tried using these up here yet to see what they do, but obviously it might be interesting to see. When I created a forum for my people in the Being Your Own CEO community, Google Plus community, I maybe could have used this instead of the way I did it. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I found it was really quite amazing. Tim, are you waving?
Yes, ma'am, I am. While you're discussing the forms here, you mentioned one that Vivek had created that and referenced it. He's kindly put the link to that form in the
Oh,
VCP
cool.
chat.
Oh, good.
So the people that are curious can go take a look at that and get an idea of what he was referencing and what you were referencing.
The chipmunk. It just works so well for me because Vivek has created the chipmunk for me that allows people to go in and register by filling in this form. It goes into a spreadsheet, and then it sends puts something into their Google Calendar. So all of that is done. It's a kind of a 3-step thing that I don't have to go and do all those pieces. All I have to do is go in and put the information about the Hangout, and the chipmunk just takes care of all those other pieces. So it's very, very convenient for me. So I think I need to stop sharing this and go to the other. I wanted you to see what the email looks like. Because when you email it, you have a choice as to whether it will be there as a link or whether it shows right up inside the email. So there's what it looks like from the receiver's point of view. So you can you can fill it in right there. So it's just amazing. I mean, I was just so thrilled about that.
I think you need to have Gmail to be able to do that, or the recipient needs to have Gmail. I could be wrong on that, but
no, I don't think so, because
oh, really?
the people I sent it to don't necessarily have Gmail.
No, to be able to fill it out right within the email.
Oh, I don't know what happens here. So it did. It took me right to the form by clicking on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Can I click here? Yes,
maybe that's something that can answer.
Yeah.
If he's
But
listening in.
But here's a couple of other things that I learned about this, and I'll stop sharing now. A couple of other things that I discovered because I was working with it within Meetup. And Meetup has, this particular group has over 260 members. And they're in there and they get automatic notices of local meetings, etc. And members that are in there are able to post things and do various things. So I, as a coordinator in there, was able to send an email to each one of those members with this form in it. So I was hoping that I would be able to embed. That's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to go in and embed this thing, but Meetup didn't respond. It didn't allow me to do it. So then what I had to do was put a link. I created an email within Meetup and used the link. And so that's how I had to do it. But if you certainly, if the embed is really useful for your own website, but there are going to be some restrictions in various places as to how you make use of it. But I'm looking forward now, as a result of what Jay said, to go in and figure out how to create a separate page. Would you share your piece so that we can see the separate page?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One thing also, I don't know if anyone knows this, is that you can use Google Forms to make quizzes. To actually make a quiz and get a score at the end, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
That would go with the testing and so forth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Also, what I really like is being able to turn off accepting responses. So that's what I really like, is that you can turn it off so that, you know, your form, you can't take in new information.
Ah, so yeah, so
Just,
so you can it's sort of a cutoff. So,
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yep. Okay, so it's all broken up into sections.
Okay.
Right? So if you add a section, so here I'll go down to the bottom, add a section.
Okay, I did notice that.
Yeah.
And that's what creates a new page?
And then, well, all you have to do is after section, continue to next section. So you can set it up so that it goes to anywhere you want, right? Submit form, so on and so forth.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah. So and that's it. That's literally how easy it is.
So easy.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's the and there's just like LA was showing, there's the summary part of the responses, and I use this to take screenshots, which is kind of cool. And here's something kind of neat is that if you go click that copy chart, and then if you open up Google's presentation, like the PowerPoint, it actually takes basically a screenshot of that chart, and at which point you can paste it as an image.
Whoa, there's another piece I didn't know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
It just couldn't be easier. It really couldn't.
Yeah.
I can tell you that on my own website, I used another plugin for my portable business coach, and it took me forever, and it was so complicated. I mean, the end result is a nice product, but this is way, way simpler to do.
Yeah, yeah, and then there's a progress bar you can have. But here's that part where I was saying about the quizzes. So you can do that and then assign point values to questions to allow auto grading. So I think that's pretty cool.
So, so we've talked about a lot of different uses that we could make use of this. Certainly related to any of the parts of our businesses. Can anybody think of any other uses that we haven't covered?
Well, you can add it as a form on your website, which I think is a really neat idea. It's like your contact form. So, you know, many times I think people are using some sort of WordPress plugin for like a contact form, right? And that I think can lead to spam and you know, just not good things, right? And I think by using Google Forms, you have a way more control in terms of what kind of data comes in, and it gets imported into a spreadsheet automatically, so you've got an infinite backup of the data that comes in. So
yeah, I can see the value of that, because well, I guess the question would be, so like a lot of these plugins that we use, they slow your website down.
Yeah.
So by using an embed, it probably wouldn't slow your website down.
No, because it's very similar to embedding a YouTube video, right? The actual data coming from the video is on YouTube servers. So this plugin, you know, I mean, or sorry, this embed, this iframe embed, you know, there's no issue whatsoever. The other thing you have to kind of take into consideration about YouTube plugins is that you're basically putting in something that is probably free as a plugin. So you're basically letting strangers into your website, you know, that could really do something malicious to your site, you know, and that's probably one of the number one cause. And I think Miami, is that her name? From WordPress Aid.
Yeah, plug aid.
Yeah,
Diana.
Diana.
Thank you. would probably agree with this, that the plugins are the #1 cause for malicious things happening to WordPress sites, because
They're the biggest malicious gateway.
absolutely, it's like, oh, hey, here, look at my PHP, look at my, here's my database, go ahead, have fun. Oh, you want to make changes to my site to make your plugin work? Oh, no problem. You know, it's amazing how trustworthy we are as people with with WordPress websites, you know. But anyway, this is obviously a different subject for another time.
But I mean, here's an alternative that we've just discovered. It never occurred to me to use the form in that way.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that can lighten up your yeah.
Question: if we use that, can it be connected with MailChimp as the contact form is?
I think you'd have to get what's called a Zapier, which is could call it an extension. It's like when someone fills in that data form, it goes into Google Forms, import that data into MailChimp. So inherently, I don't think it would work, but there is something called Zapier, ZAPIER.com, and it connects common things together.
I think if this, then that also has some things that you can use to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring their side out. So far I've had.
That's why I use Zapier.
Thanks for the tip, because I'm not as a former programmer. If this, then that doesn't impress me that way.
Yeah. Well, functionally, I think it's fine, but the user experience is not the best. Clearly built by programmers and not by designers.
It's that old thing, keep it simple, as Vivek has been saying. Boy, that's been front and present for me this week. How to simplify many things. Wow. So I think, unless anybody has anything to add or any other questions, Alana, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you can replace your contact form with a Google form. Would you be able to use a form or create some sort of a mail push notification as a form?
Well, every time someone fills out the form, you would get emailed, or you want some sort of notification to the recipient that filled in the form.
Right. So if I wanted to send someone a series, like say regarding a training course, and they were going to get, email 1 through 5, could I use a form for that? Would that work? And then if they didn't open it, then they wouldn't get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I don't believe there's any kind of autoresponder functionality in Google Forms.
That's a good question.
And my second question would be, if there's any changes to Google and their platform or whatever, would there be any risk to you having to take that off and replace it with something else somewhere down the line? Because really, it's like goes back to what you were saying about, use your own real estate.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed the first part of your question there, Alana.
Of the second question or the first question?
No, the second question, the first part of it. I was looking to see if there was a solution to your first question, so I got distracted.
Okay, so the second question was, you're really kind of at the mercy of Google and hoping they're not going to make any changes to the way they do business. And if they decide somewhere down the line to take away the forms, and then you have to replace something on your website with something else. Got it. Okay. So I would personally. Back to your, absolutely. Great question. Their whole real estate question. Yeah. Run your business on your own real estate. Yeah. Great question. So one of the great things about Google Forms is that the data gets backed up to Google Docs or spreadsheet. So there's an infinite backup there. But you can just back it up there, right? So you're good there. So you can then import that data to wherever you want. It can be easily replaced.
But I would personally rather rely on Google's stuff than some, you know, overseas plugin developer that's developing stuff for free. So, you know.
So would this actually replace,
Like
say, the
who is
contact
Yoast?
center?
For like, think about it. Who's Yoast? Like,
Yeah, who is
does he
Yoast?
exist, or is he just a cartoon character? Because that seems like all he is, right? And maybe it's a paid actor, you know.
So would you recommend like removing the Contact Form 7 plugin and diverting your contact form stuff to a Google form and create a email address with your domain name for a Google account?
Right. So
if that makes
no,
sense.
absolutely. So I've never used Contact Form 7 other than doing it inside a case study, but just for the fact that it's, you know, it's free. I know Contact Form 7 has had vulnerabilities in the past. Craig, our friend Craig, Labman, he's pointed that out a couple times. And like I personally use Gravity Forms, but I pay for that, you know. So there's a reliance there, like where I rely on good coded form data. But I think there's no harm whatsoever using a Google embedded form for a contact page, without a doubt.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, but also, I mean, any of the Google items, you know, all of them, you can download them to your own system if you want to.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And as far as integrating it with, say, like MailChimp or other autoresponder, is you can download the email addresses, because you can, each data set column, because that's what the way they're laid out in a database is what it's creating in that spreadsheet. You can then export that particular data set out of your downloaded data up into your mail program. So if they've agreed to subscribe to whatever, you can then import that mail list to your mail autoresponder program, MailChimp, Constant Contact, GetResponse, whoever.
mhm.
And all you have to do is just make sure that when you're uploading, that your particular service isn't duplicating the mail so they don't get 2 or 3 copies.
Right.
So I just quickly Googled, there's a website called Google where you can find lots of great information. So I used this free service and was able to find that you can integrate Google Forms with MailChimp. And I actually put the link in the VCP plugin, sponsored by MinMax Media.
Right on. Well,
Because that was going to be another question that I had. Was sorry, Lolan, I didn't mean to speak over you. Was the reporting, because some of the most important information that you need is in regard to the reports you get. How many people are opening your mail? How many people are clicking on your links within those mails, and that sort of thing. And can Google Forms provide that information? So how far can you take it?
I think there are limitations, absolute limitations.
Go ahead.
Because website a lot of comments by Vivek, and he's answering a lot of the questions we had here. So I think it's worthwhile to bring them up.
Well, I'm looking at the time, Heidi. It's 10 o'clock. I know Fred usually has something, and it sounds like Roland does, and I know that Tim does. So. Vivek, I'm sorry we haven't profiled all your answers, but and I do have to say that when I have Google questions, Vivek is definitely the person you want to go to. So, Jay, what are you sharing? Oh, there's yeah. So please do go in there. But in the meantime, I do think it's time for us to close the questions off. I hadn't realized that we could go on forever here. I thought it was going to be a very short session this morning. So I think it's time for me to remind all that it's important to do what you love with passion.